So once we have our path string, we can construct the path object. Okay, so of course we need to fix the imports. Alright, so we're using paths to convert the string object into a path. The path object recognizes different components of the path string, including the file name, including all the subdirectories separated or delimited by the slash characters. So we can start doing things like this, basically obtaining the file name like this from the path. So then what we could do, we can iterate over all the elements present in the path by using a loop like this. So we have the name count method inside the path object, and we can just simply access individual elements by the index. Besides this, we also have the methods to obtain the parent, to get the root directory, to get absolute path, and there's also utility class named files, where we can check whether the object on the file system corresponding to this path actually exists. So I'm just going to right click and fix imports for this. So this is the files. So let's save this and try running it just to see what it displays. Alright, so this is my output, and you can see that the file name is letter.txt. The elements that this iterates is bcc257docs, and also includes the last element here, also includes the entire file name. But notice that the iteration begins from the first subdirectory off of the root directory. So the parent of this object, the letter.txt, is the directory named docs. So the full path can be obtained to the parent directory, in this case for this file, which would be bcc257docs. So this is a full path. We have a separate method to get to the root. So on Unix, the root directory is just a single leading forward slash, and on Windows it's a drive letter followed by the colon followed by the backslash or forward slash in our case, because like I told you before, the latest version of Windows makes it slash agnostic. You can use either forward or backward slash. Okay, so more possibilities to create the path object is to obtain it from the file system, which we can get as a default file system in the file systems utility class. So for example, we can try to use file systems and file system. Let's fix the imports, so that corresponds, everything comes from NIO, which is new input-output Java library, and we can get the path like this. A single dot path specifies the current working directory. So let's print the current working directory just to see what this is when I start my program. Okay, so let's run this code, and if we obtain the path like this using the single dot notation, it's always referring to a directory, not to a file. And you see that by default this path is interpreted as just basically single dot. This is just current working directory, but converting it to the absolute path makes it visible. So this is my project folder. So by default in NetBeans, when you test your code, your current working directory assigned to this running Java program is actually the NetBeans project directory. So as I already mentioned, there is an idea of an absolute and relative path. An absolute, also known as full path, has to begin with the root directory. Path specifications right here, and the root directory is followed by all subdirectories included in the path string. A relative path, by contrast, begins from the current working directory. So when the program starts, it is always given a current working directory. By default, the current working directory is the location of the program on the file system itself, or the operating system may assign a different working directory. Also, if the program is launched from a different process, the working directory is inherited from that process, or it can be assigned to use another directory as one of the parameters when the new program starts. So there's lots and lots of options and possibilities explaining why we would suddenly need this Java path class beyond a simple string specifying a directory path. In addition to this single dot specifying current directory, we may also be able to obtain the parent directory, right? So this is a parent directory of the current working directory, and for the parent we use ... Okay, so that's the syntax to obtain parent directory. So let's see. I'll save this and run again, and so here the path object gives us this a reference to the parent directory using this ... So in reality it's really just this portion, which is the parent directory of the week 10 subdirectory. I also want to mention, while we are looking at this output, that the directory docs under C257 does not exist, and this file also doesn't exist. So we really don't get any errors, but we get correct indication that this file does not exist.